Coffee with Keto Simple. My name is Dustin. I'm so glad you're here. This stream will be starting soon, so grab your coffee, get comfortable, and settle in. We're building a strong and supportive community, so say hello in the chat, ask questions, and feel free to use super chats if there's anything that you want to see highlighted. Thank you for being here and being a part of this journey. Let's keep it positive and respectful as we connect and grow together. I can't wait to get started. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday, everyone. Oh, it's so good to be here. And well, friends, what a week it's been. It's been a really good week. It was my birthday week. Happy birthday to me, 47 years old. It doesn't seem possible that I have made it to 47. And first off, thank you to everyone who reached out with birthday wishes, who sent cards. Cindy and Guinea Pig sent me a card. Those of you who sent super chats or donated memberships, whatever you did, said happy birthday to me on Facebook or Twitter, or in Dr. Barry's private group, wherever. Thank you so very much. And every year, I think I get a little more reflective, right? And this year has been no different. So I found myself thinking less about getting older. I mean, it's inevitable. And more about how grateful I am for where life has taken me. 20-year-old me would not believe where I'm at now. 15-year-old me would have no understanding of how I got to where I am now. But I get to spend my days with my best friend, Chandra. She's amazing, loving. She challenges me. She picks on me. We make fun of each other. And we get to watch our grandbabies grow up every single day. And a lot of people don't get to do that. A lot of people don't have the luxury of being able to spend as much time with their grandchildren as we do. I get to spend Sunday mornings hanging out with all of you, as well as Tuesdays, and I'm building something I've hopefully turns out to be helpful to a lot of people in the long run, which is my health coaching business, right? Life isn't perfect, but it's pretty wonderful. I'm pretty poor right now as far as my finances go. And another thing that I've been looking at and working on, and something that I touched on Tuesday, is that I'm trying to cut back on both caffeine as well as soda. Now, I'm not giving up caffeine. That's preposterous. That's crazy talk. No one's giving up caffeine, but I've been taking in a lot, and I have a tendency to grow and grow and grow the amount of caffeine I consume on a daily basis until it kind of reaches a tipping point, and I have to be mindful of how much caffeine I'm taking in. Speaking of caffeine, let's go ahead and take a sip of this coffee. I usually wait a little bit, but here we are today. I need it because it's Sunday, and it's early. It's 7:34 Eastern Standard Time in the morning on Sunday. But the soda part, I'm doing my best to cut back on. It's a very difficult transition. I have not fully cut it out, as I had some for my birthday. There's a little bit left over. I have a couple of energy drinks left that I need to get rid of before I have, am able to kind of be done for now. I'm not going to go cold turkey, and I know there's going to be times where we go out to dinner and there's going to be Coke Zero or Diet Pepsi or something. So I'm not probably going to eliminate it wholeheartedly, but I am going to do my absolute best to not bring it into the house. Now, that being said, there is always most likely going to be Diet Coke in this house, but luckily for me, I detest the taste of Diet Coke. Oh, one other thing. One thing I have to say thank you to is Jeremiah. Jeremiah ordered me a pack of the Liquid Death Kilbert Grape, and he was supposed to drop it off to me, and I told him, he was like, are you going to be home? And I'm like, yes, I'm going to be home. But then on my birthday, our daughter had to run to the grocery store, but the one she went to didn't have everything that we needed, and I needed to go and run and get those things to make my birthday and also go pick up the food that we had ordered and all that stuff. So I ended up not being here. We dropped it off, but I want to say thank you so much to Jeremiah for that. I haven't had any yet. I need to put a couple in the fridge. Those are sparkling waters with just a little bit of sweetener in them. So I don't necessarily consider those to be soda. They're not really sweetener. I think it's agave. So it's a natural. I mean, what's the difference, I guess? But it's not going to be the same thing for me as a Coke. So probably something to keep for whenever I truly, truly just need something carbonated, because I do need carbonation. So I will probably, even though they make me so thirsty, I will probably go and get myself some sparkling waters, bubbly, whatever, something, just so I can have that bubbly carbonation. But again, our daughter drinks Diet Coke. Chandra likes Diet Coke. She's trying to cut out soda with me, so that's going to be good. Anybody who wants to join us, let me know. We'll make a thing of it. Now, I mean, it's not going to be an organized challenge. It's just, hey, we're trying our best to cut back on soda. You know, so again, that temptation, the Diet Coke temptation, is not something that's really going to be anything for me. Now, our son likes Diet Pepsi. Diet Pepsi is something that I'm okay with, but he kind of keeps that in his room and I don't really see it. But anyway, anything else, but like anything else in this journey, I'm just looking to make one more small improvement, right? Just trying to move the needle a little bit. We don't have to reinvent the wheel with everything that we do. And I'm not going to be so much of a stickler, and I'm not going to stress about it, because just giving up the soda in of itself is going to be pretty stressful for me. So I'm just trying to just do the best I can with it. So, and then something here, that really hit me this week, and I think most of us spend way too much time thinking about food. I do. I mean, as a person with a channel that has recipes, we talk about food, we talk about eating, it's kind of hard to get away from, right? But I mean, especially, if you were someone who's just starting this journey, I know I certainly did. I thought about food every single day, all day, every day. And these days, my mornings, afternoons, when we decide to eat, are almost automatic. When we get up, I make coffee. I make Chandra some cheese and eggs. The little one has started stealing eggs off of, Ma has started feeding feeding the littlest one some eggs from her plate. And then our granddaughter, she likes eggs, and trying to make sure she eats the best that we can. So then I try to make, for me, whatever sounds good to me, typically hot dogs, burger patties, eggs, maybe some of my waffles with eggs and cheese, or, if I'm feeling ambitious. Again, those take a little bit of time to make, because I have to make a couple of batches, and it's about 10 minutes a batch. They're pretty easy and quick to whip up, but the cooking time is about 10 minutes for 4 waffles, and I usually make 12 to 16 waffles. So we're looking at a half hour, 45 minutes to make those waffles. So, I mean, I have to be feeling a certain kind of way to want to do that. So, and I don't want to spend all day debating on what I want to eat. I don't want to obsess over my macros. I just want to live. I've got stuff to do. I've got this channel. I'm trying to build a business. I want to spend time with my grandkids and spend time with Chandra and enjoy coffee and just hang out and have a good time while I'm able to do so. And I think, that's the goal, not to become someone who thinks about food every waking moment, but getting to a place where we have those built-in habits that just become second nature. And that wasn't something that was possible, when we started 10 years ago. No, it was not anywhere close to being possible. But back then, every decision felt monumental. Every meal felt like a test. But after years of trial and error and learning about myself, because I think that's something that we need to all take a moment and just do some self-reflection, get to know ourselves. A lot of us are strangers to ourselves. And that sounds a little melodramatic, maybe, a little hyperbolic, maybe, but I think it's true. I think most of us don't truly know who we are. We're strangers to ourselves, especially in the beginning of these journeys. And there's a lot of things that we don't want to admit to ourselves. We don't want to admit things. We don't want to be truthful to ourselves. But that takes time to figure out who you are, figure out what you enjoy, how you can find, meaningful, impactful ways to feed, what kind of food's really going to stand the test of time. And it doesn't have to be forever. But what's going to get you through this week? What's going to get you through this month? And then things can shift and you can continue to figure this out. And that's just kind of how I want to be. That's how I want to live. I want it to be as easy and simple as possible. And continue to find ways to make things even easier, right? Whether it's an air fryer or whatever. Just little things, little conveniences that we can implement in our daily life to make things less complicated. And maybe that's what success really looks like, right? It's definitely not perfection. It's not obsession, but just building a life that's so full of purpose that food becomes one small part of a much bigger picture. Okay? Because again, food is fun. We can find joy in food. I'm never going to be one of those people that food is fuel, but food can be fun. Food can bring us together. Food is the essence of life, right? We can't survive without it. So we gather and we enjoy it, but it doesn't have to encompass everything about our daily lives. But with that, let's go ahead and jump into these comments and say good morning to everybody, because again, you guys are why I'm here. Brian Dish is here. Good morning, Brian. I'm so very glad to see you, my friend. And it wouldn't be a Sunday without Evelyn. Hello, Evelyn. How are you, my dear? I'm glad to see you. Glad that you are here. And Mr. Rick is here. Hello, Mr. Rick. How are you doing?
Let's get dangerous.
That's right. Hello, Rick. Good morning. All the way from Miami, Florida. Yes. And Mr. Gugahan is here. Hello, Mr. Gugahan. How are you? He says, good morning. Bacon, eggs, chaffles, and of course, coffee for the win this morning. Coffee for the win. Bucky's cup in hand. We are in the process of getting a Bucky's in Greenwood, Indiana, of all places, which is about 25, 30 minutes south of me. It's right off of I-65. And I don't know, it'll probably be a couple of years before they build it and it's finished. But they are in the early planning stages. They are in the city council voting to approve stages. I've seen the plans. It's going to be like 74,000 square feet. Typical what you would think of as gas pumps. It'll say Buc-ee's Greenwood on the big sign out front. I'm excited for that. But again, I think they're not voting on it till July. So we're probably looking at like late 2027, early 2028 for that thing to open. It takes them a long time to build those things. So it'll be a destination gas station. There's a Wally's going up on the north end of 65, north of Indianapolis, about 25 minutes north of me. So equidistant, it's a place called Wally's, WALLY''S. It looks like a Buc-ee's. They have a mascot, a lot of gas pumps. They make food. We'll probably be checking that out, too, when it opens up. It's opening soon. It's been under construction for a while, but we'll be taking a look at that. Our good friend Risa is here. Good morning, dear. How are you? Oh, my goodness. And Isabel is here. I'm thinking, like, whenever I say that, it makes me think of Mirabelle. Because for a while, we were watching Encanto every day. Coco, Encanto. We were watching, what else? We were watching Coco, Encanto. We were watching Moana. When our oldest granddaughter was the young little movie fan that she was. Now she wants to watch YouTube all the time. Not me. I don't know if she watches me. I think she might. But she's watching some of the goofiest kid YouTube stuff you'll ever want, right? Oh, Donna Ray is here. Hello, Donna Ray. How are you doing, my dear? Welcome, Miss Bacon Runner. Risa's got her coffee and electrolytes, and she's ready. So ready. And Mr. Brian Doyle is in the house. Good morning, my friend. How are you? Welcome. And Rick says it's quack time. John is here. Mr. Smoothie is here. Hello. Happy belated birthday. Hi, everybody. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so very much. And just another red shirt, but he's not just another red shirt to me. He is the only red shirt to me. Hello, sir. How are you doing, my friend? So very glad that you have joined us today, my friend. Josephine says, howdy, Dustin. Happy 47th birthday. Thank you. Thank you. I was joking with my granddaughter last night because you know the whole 6'7". I was like, in 20 years, it'll be my 6'7" birthday. But it'll probably not even be a thing. We probably won't even think about 6'7". You know what I mean? Risa says, I've got this weird thing going on. I can hear another live going on. One that isn't live right now. I don't know how to shut it up. So do you have another window open with another YouTube window open, maybe on your phone or something? Who knows? I'm only playing this live. I don't know what's going on. I'm the only one right now, but I don't know. I do not know. Mr. Gugahan said, happy belated birthday. You're a youngin'. You know what? It's okay. I feel like I'm 20. You know? Booby Goats is here. Hello, Aaron. How are you doing, my dear? Mr. Gugahan turns 61 on Thursday. Happy early birthday, Mr. Gugahan. So very glad to see you. Risa says, I'll be back. I'll be back. Gonna try and get rid of this other chat going on. Oh, no. You'll figure it out. I have faith in you. Josephine saying hello to everybody. And Risa is back. So far, so good. No other chat going on in the background. That's what I'm talking about. I knew you could. I knew you could fix it. And Risa says, talking about caffeine, I had 3.5 cups of coffee yesterday. Going to try and be better today. To me, I don't think for me, it's not a matter of how much coffee. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, this is a 30-ounce container. I've been putting 7 shots of espresso in here. I'm trying to cut back to 5 or 4. Maybe if I can get to 4, I'll feel a little bit better about it. I just kind of always just keep doing it. Just more and more and more. And then adding energy drinks on top of it, or soda, whatever has caffeine. It just kind of keeps going and going and going. And Brenda Jones is here. Hello, Brenda. How are you, my dear? Welcome. Glad to see you. Yes. And Mr. Jeffifa is in the house. Good morning, walking and listening. Well, so very glad. I'm glad that you are having a good day and you're up and moving. Body moving, body moving. And Evelyn says, nice to Jeremiah. Kilbert grape, yes. And Risa bought some Kilbert grape from Amazon. When I looked at it, it was not anywhere to be found. They were sold out. I also got Psycho Cider and the Pop-Tart Carnage. Haven't tried grape yet. Psycho Cider is amazing. That sounds great. I like the orange, and I like the lime sometimes. And Mr. Redshirt says, I drink a lot of grapefruit seltzer, unsweet tea, and just plain water. I need to up my water consumption. I drink a lot of liquids, but it's not a lot of water. I'm trying to drink more water. I just put a case of water up in our room, so we'll see. Just up in the microplastics, you know what I'm saying? You know, down with soda, up with microplastics. Yeah, Mr. Gugahan, I have tried Zevia, and I'm just not a fan of it. Not a fan of it. It just tastes weird to me. Yes, I love the bubbles, but the seltzer water makes me thirsty. Like, it just makes my mouth dry. I can drink it, but it doesn't make me, like, less thirsty. I'll drink it, and then I'm like, I don't know, it's so weird. Mr. Brian Doyle says, I put my electrolytes in unflavored seltzer water. Just need to be mindful of the volcano. Yes. And Mr. Redshirt says, my favorite soda is ginger beer. I don't think I've ever tried ginger beer. Is that like ginger ale, but just more gingery? I'm curious. And Mr. Gugahan says, Zevia is buy one, get one at Publix this week. I occasionally enjoy one with a meal. We don't have Publix here yet. I mean, we've got Costco and we've got Sam's Club and Walmart and Meijer and Kroger. And Aldi. Those are the stores that we kind of have. We don't have the Publix yet. I mean, we've seen Publix in Florida. And Ryan's right. The food noise when it goes away is just nice. Like, for me, I end up eating because I feel like for me, I don't always eat when I'm hungry. I always kind of feel like, well, if I don't eat now, I probably won't have a chance to eat later. It'll end up being too late. I'll eat too late. So, like, I'll usually, because I don't like to eat early in the morning. I don't want to eat when I first wake up. I want to eat later in the afternoon. If I can eat like around 3 o'clock, that's like right at like a good spot for me, about 3 o'clock. But then sometimes we don't get to eat till like 9 or 10 because we get busy and we don't get a chance to eat. or like, well, I'll make food for Chandra, and then she's hungry again later in the evening. But yeah. Risa says, last week I made a double batch of Cindy's waffles, the ones with the cauliflower in them, and used them through the week as a bread substitute. Worked very well. Awesome. She said it took me about 25 minutes to make 2 batches, but only used 1 dash waffle maker instead of 2. I'm making a double batch of taco meat tonight, so I have stuff to bring for work for my break. I love it. Coach Angela Mullins is in the house. Good morning, Angela. How are you? And Wellness with Love is here. Hello, Wellness. How are we doing? I'm not sure what your name is. If you want to share that, please do so. But welcome. Glad to see you, my dear. And Andy says, morning. Just woke up and I slept so well. So, let's see if I can read. Morning, just woke up, but I slept well, so I'm very content this Sunday morning. I'm very glad that you are here. Wellness is getting one here in Toledo, Ohio. Are you getting a Buc-ee's in Toledo? Let me know what you're getting in Toledo. What are you getting in Toledo? Toledo's about 4 hours away from me. Hey, Mason is here. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Yes. Risa says, good morning to Andy, adorable new grandbaby. So happy for you and your family. Oh, so adorable. I love new babies. New babies, I love them. And Evil Lynn says, my lid on my Buc-ee's cup cracked. I use it every day for school last year. I'm so sad. You can order these lids on Amazon. They don't have to be the same brand. Just like search for 30-ounce steel tumbler, and you can get new lids. I was excited. We found a Yeti. I found a Yeti, like a Yeti one, just like this size, for 50 cents at a yard sale last week. It was pretty awesome. The week before last. 50. So if you see me drinking a Yeti, I'm not bougie. It was 50 cents. I've gone on rants about not paying Yeti prices because there's not a lot of difference between this cup for $12 and a Yeti for $40. I mean, there's not enough difference to pay the Yeti prices. I mean, they keep your drink hot for a long time or cold for a long time. There's the Walmart brand. There's the Amazon has a brand. Like Meijer has a brand. They've all got a brand. All the stores have a brand, and they're all about, $10 to $15. And Yeti's over there trying to be like, I'm $40. But I've said that, and then here I am the other day. I was on a live drinking from a Yeti cup, and I'm like, people are going to see that and think I'm a hypocrite. I got it for 50 cents. And then he said, thanks, Risa. He's adorable. So tiny, only weighed 6 pounds, and is 18 and a quarter inches. Oh, my goodness. I was 5 pounds, 1 ounce when I was born, so I was a teeny tiny a little teeny tiny thing. Not teeny tiny anymore. But we love babies. Like our little granddaughter last night, they put her in like this little, like a onesie that didn't have long, they weren't long pants. And her little thighs looked like a can of biscuits. I was like, oh, she's so chunky. So chunky. Her little cans of biscuits. Oh, I love her so much. Charlie is here. Good morning, my friend. How are you? I'm glad to see you, Charlie. Yes. Oh, yes. And Evelyn had a party yesterday to her graduating daughter. Yeah. And Red Shirt says, I feel a certain amount of pity for the committed food as fuel crowd. The carnivore and keto diets aren't in conflict with creativity. I think that there is some overlap. So, like, I think we're still in a space where I still see people who live the keto lifestyle focused on calories or still kind of afraid of too much fat or too much sodium or whatever. Then we're going to see like the food as fuel people, and that kind of trickles into the carnivore crowd a little bit. Carnivore kind of has that, like, oh, why eat anything besides just a steak? Now, steak is delicious, and if you can afford it and that's what you want, awesome. But that's not most of us. And I think, like the food is fuel thing, like, is food fuel? Yes. But it's also a moment of reflection. It's a little bit of downtime. It's a little bit of sit down and have time with your family or have time just by yourself having lunch. It doesn't have to be this, like, I don't even know how to put it. It doesn't have to be some, what's the word I'm using? I'm trying to look for. Doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to be so utilitarian. It doesn't have to just be like strip down, eat, and then that's it. No, enjoy it. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the cooking. Enjoy the taste. Enjoy just the act of taking the time to eat your food. This is a process of healing. We have to learn how to heal, and we have to learn how to still navigate a society that is still predominantly food first. I grew up in a very food first family. We'd show up at my great grandma's house, cast irons hitting the stove. She was cooking for us, doing whatever. Here, eat. I've got leftovers. Heat. Let me cook you something. Here, what are you? You look skinny. Eat. Oh, it's your birthday? Eat. You sad? Eat. You happy? Eat. We're celebrating? Eat. We're at church? Eat. We're at this? Eat. And most of us grew up that way. Very, very food first. Because that's how we evolved as humans. Now, what food we choose to put first is where we have the control. But it doesn't have to be snarky. It doesn't have to be nasty. It doesn't have to need to be mean. And a lot of people are going to come at us with curiosity. They're going to come at us with fear. They're going to come at us with a lack of understanding. And I was on a Zoom call yesterday with the coaches and the PhD, a bunch of the PhD coaches yesterday with Alyssa and Mitzi, and talking about oh man, my brain just went blank. We were in the Zoom call yesterday, and we were talking about that very thing, right? We were talking about food first, like, just, it doesn't have to be, my brain is like gone to complete mush. Oh my goodness. Maybe I had a little stroke. I don't know. Angela was there, I think. And Amy was there. Let my brain. Oh my goodness. We'll come back to that, I think, because there's some other things that I want to talk about. Too. Yeah. Again, congratulations to Grandma Andy and Susan. Woo! Those babies are going to be spoiled. Those babies are going to be spoiled. And Charlie says, my friend's son was on youth soccer team recently, and the team name 6'7s became they're all 6 and 7 year. Yeah, our granddaughter played soccer this spring, and she was 7, so they were like 6 and 7 year olds, and I think they lost by 6 or 7 points every game, but that's okay. Yeah. Evelyn says they have a lot of leftovers. Oh, and Andy says that Jackson missed my birthday by 1 day. So he was born the day before my birthday. But that's okay. He's in good company. He's in good company. He knew better than encroach on my day. I love it. I love it. Taco bar every day, skipping the tortilla and filling the bowl. There we go. Our friend Carl's here. Hello, Carl. Carl. Yes. Carl says, smash the like button. Woo. And Sharon is here. Good morning, Sharon. How are you, my dear? And Risa says, I drink 2 8-ounce glasses of electrolytes, in a day. 1 can seltzer and sometimes a can of iced tea or homemade. I love iced tea. And Sean is here. Hello, Sean. Didn't get back from the concert until 3 a.m. Just woke up. You're partying hard, dude. You're partying, you're rocking out. What'd you go see? Was it Evanescence? I think I saw you went to see Evanescence. I never saw them. Because I think by the time they kind of made it big, by the time they were touring and played here, I wasn't interested. But I'm going to see Chemists with Monolord, and my friend's band is playing Mother of Graves. That'll be in September. Then I have a show in July, which is Entheos. Entheos is a great female-fronted band. Tech death band with a female front. Check them out. They're pretty good. If you dare. And like Chemist is kind of like a doomy melodic doom. And then Monolord's just heavy. It's so good. And Reese says ginger beer is like root beer, but more ginger flavored. Just tried the Spindrift ginger, and I do not like it. Way too strong. Love Fever Tree ginger beer. I'm always looking for something that's got just enough flavor to it, and something that's got just enough flavor, but I can also it needs to be like the seltzers just need to be a little more wet. I feel like they're too dry. Like they need to be crisp and carbonated, but a little more wet. I know I don't know if I'm explaining that right. Yeah, and Red Shirt's saying the same thing. Yeah, ginger beer, but its ginger flavor is a lot more intense. That's kind of like the Zevia. I tried the ginger ale Zevia, and it was very much more ginger forward. And he says, my family is from Michigan, and I always loved Verner's. And then when we moved to Ohio, I found it here in the stores. Haven't even checked if they have a sugar-free. I think Verner's does have a sugar-free version. I think they do. I wish they'd bring back, here I am talking about getting rid of soda. Wish they'd bring back Crystal Pepsi, like a zero sugar Crystal Pepsi, but here I am, Amy, hello, Amy. you know, if it wasn't for this live, I would be in bed too. This has got me out of bed for years and years now on Sundays instead of sleeping in. Here I am. I come rain or shine, sickness or in health, unless I'm on vacation, which I think we are going to Alabama, I think, in October. I don't know. One of the things that happened is on my birthday. So on my birthday, we sat down to watch The Sheep Detectives. You know, the movie with Hugh Jackman and the sheep. It's not a cartoon, and the sheep aren't animated, but they do have voices. Like, he can't hear their voices, but they talk about him, you know, when, you know, and you can hear what they have to say. We got 10 minutes into the movie the whole night. We started it over once. We got like 2 to 5 minutes into it, had to start it over again. And then all of our kids were home, except for, you know, we have 2 boys that work nights, so they weren't home until later. Then they were home, and then there was, you know. But so our daughter was looking, our daughter and her fiance are getting married in October, and our son and his fiance are also getting married in October. The son is getting married the first day of Keto-palooza, which is a Thursday. He's getting married on a Thursday because the venue he wants to get married in, which is very nice, is much, much more affordable on a Thursday. And the date they picked is because they had still the deposit with this place from when they were planning their wedding last year when it fell apart. Anyway, so that's going to be a thing. And then they're going on their honeymoon in Japan. Our daughter and her fiance are getting married later in October, like about a week later. And they were planning to go to Atlanta. Take the kids, go to the aquarium, do the things in Atlanta. The things you do when you go to hot Atlanta with children. So not going to the Claremont, okay? And Chandra says, well, you know, it's only a little bit further to go to the beach. So now we're planning to go to Alabama with everybody again. So it's going to be 10 of us going to Alabama. So, but here's the caveat to that: 10 of us and 2 dogs. So our daughter and her soon, you know, our soon-to-be son-in-law want to bring their 2 dogs. So we're looking for accommodations that allow for dogs. I don't want to bring the dogs. I would rather spend the money and board the dogs. There's a nice boarding facility here that we have used before for our son's dogs. That's a very nice facility. But okay, so yeah, so we're doing the things, and we're looking for places that have amenities and room for everybody to sleep. And, you know, so if it rains, we hopefully have an indoor something to do. It doesn't cost us money outside of staying. So almost every place we've stayed for a while, when we go down there, has an indoor pool. So if it does rain, we have somewhere to go. Or if the inclement weather, because kind of even in October, it's like the very tail end of hurricane season. Not anticipating a hurricane, obviously, but thunderstorms do roll in from time to time. And while watching them from your balcony is pretty cool, you don't want to go out in the water. But anyway, all of us are supposed to go down there, and then this vacation starts the day before our son and soon-to-be daughter-in-law get back from Japan. So they're going to be maybe switching. I think they're going to be switching their flights to come from where they're coming home to going to Pensacola, which is an hour drive from. I had to go pick them up or whatever. So then they'll be with us. So they're going to come back from Japan and go right to a beach vacation. You know, our kids are spoiled. I don't know where they're getting this money. And they're closing on a house this week. I don't know what's going on. I don't know our kids or what's happening. But anyway, that's where we're at. Oh, Oh, my goodness. And people are saying hello. And there we go. Miss Christie is here. She's in Las Vegas. Hello. How are you doing in Las Vegas? Avoid 000 blackjack. Or not blackjack. 000 roulette if you're gambling. What they will do is hide the 000 with the hotel logo. It's still the worst odds on the strip. Anyway, just a little food for thought. Sent you pictures from yesterday, Dustin. Okay, I'll be looking those in a little bit. And John says, Bundaberg ginger beer is a good one. I have never heard of that. And Risa says, I refuse to buy a Yeti or a Stanley Cup. Ridiculous price. I'll stick to my Aldi version for $8. Works for the same. Now, the one thing that we had a knockoff Walmart Stanley, like Stanley style cup, and it didn't keep things cold or hot. So I don't know if the knockoffs are actually if they're actually just that much worse, or if a Stanley is not that good. Now, I see people who have 10, 20, 30, 40 Stanley Cups, and I'm like, what? Because they're $40 a piece too. And they got all these accessories and like little tool belts that go on them, and they're like accessorize them to hold their phone. It's ridiculous. I mean, if I was going to buy a cup in that style, which I'm not a fan of that cup because it doesn't fit the dishwasher very well, the lids are interchangeable. We've got like 12 to 15 cups like this, and so all the lids are pretty well interchangeable, and you can just go and buy replacements where needed. So it's not a huge deal. But those big Stanley ones, those like the 40-ounce ones, they're just, I did have a 40-ounce like this one. I don't know what happened to it. I think one of the kids left it in the car, and it was just full of mold, and we just threw it away. Yes. Terry Girl is in the house. Hello, Terry. How are you, my dear? Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Keep the ruckus to a minimum. And Risa said, I did see Stanley Cups on sale at Target last week for $25. I saw a yard sale, and they had a whole bunch of Stanley Cups, but they wanted $8 a piece. And I was like, that's too much for a yard sale. $2, $2 for the yard sale. My thing, we go to yard sales, and you can there's people who are like priced to move. They're trying to get rid of stuff. They don't want to bring it back in the house. Or they're just like, I know what I got. This isn't eBay. This isn't eBay, sir. This is a yard sale. Anyway. Oh, my goodness. Everybody's saying hello to everybody. And Eva Lynn says, my Buc-ee's was $20-ish for a 40-ounce. Carl's looking for a lid, but I may just need to visit with Cindy and get another one before school starts again. They may even sell extra lids at the Buc-ee's. Yeah, I know it was about research studies, but then we kind of broke off, and there was another. I forget what we were talking about. I do have a research study that I want to talk about today, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But there was something that kind of was my train of thought went in, and it was parallel with what we were talking about yesterday, but then I lost it. It's gone. My brain goes, whatever. And Risa says, Evelyn, that is an addition to visiting with Cindy. That is for sure. Yeah, that works. Uncle Charlie says, talking about Kip. Now, Kip is not here to defend himself. And I am not a person, I would say that I have commented on some of Kip's videos, but I do not know Kip. I have never really conversed with Kip. I know that Kip had surgery. And so Uncle Charlie's saying, he thinks that Kip will regret surgery. Well, I mean, he may very well. He may very well. And a lot of people have the surgery, and they do gain weight back. Like he said, his cousin had it done and gained weight back. So Kip isn't here to defend himself. And I don't know Kip. So it's not something for me to go and talk out of school, about things, because Kip has to make the decisions for Kip. My thoughts, my ideas don't matter to Kip. And I wish him the best. I hope he finds what he's looking for. I hope he finds, you know, like for me, again, like I talk about, there's different things, there's different tools in the toolbox for different people. Not everybody is going to find keto and carnivore and come out on the other end bright, shiny, and happy. And you're talking about, you know, whether, you know, like a GLP-1, some people, they work fantastic for them. It's just what they needed. Some people, weight loss surgery is kind of, I think there's kind of a point of no return for some people where they need that intervention. It's not pretty. It's not optimal, but it's a difference between life, you know, being here and not being here, I should say. And again, I like I said, I don't know Kip and I haven't watched all of his videos. So I can't even speak to what he's gone through, what he went through, the decision-making choices that went into doing what he did. And whether I agree with what he did or not has nothing to do with him. And I think we all need to kind of keep that in mind in this community because, again, Kip makes content. He's a YouTuber. He's in the public sphere. So if you want to talk about things with Kip, talk about them with Kip. I don't know him. I'm sure he's a lovely person. I just haven't had an opportunity to get to know him. I mean, realistically, there's probably 1,000 people out there that I'll never get to know just because of how many people there are. Now, again, I said I wish the best for him and his family, his kids, his wife, and I hope he finds what he's looking for. But I don't judge him because it's not my place. Andy says, the job of the grandparents is to spoil, love, and give back to the parents. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And Terry said, did your birthday take away some brain cells? I think it did. I think it did. I think it did. Christian says, if I never hear 6'7" again, it'll be too soon. If you worked with kids last year, you know. Oh, I know, because just being around our granddaughter was enough. I mean, now, like at Walmart, I saw 6'7" chicken nuggets. So all the nuggets were 6s or 7s. I mean, you can either 6'7" or you can be a really big Phillips 76 fan. Spirit Box is one of the bands I think I would like to see one day. I don't know. If you like female-fronted vocals or female-fronted bands, take a look at Entheos there, Sean. Oh, and Andy says, something I ate last night did not settle. So today I'm sticking to eggs and beef. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand that. Sometimes it just happens. I feel that way. Because sometimes I wake up and I'm like, ugh. Angel says, I watched my daughter's oldest children yesterday afternoon while she worked. She got off work late, so I got home at 1 a.m., was so tired. Oh, I bet. I woke up last night. Like, we went to bed last night. Chandra worked today again, you know. She's working tomorrow, too, so she can have 4th of July off, because she has 4th of July off, but she picked up tomorrow to cover for that. And, yeah, so where was I going with that? Yeah, so we went to bed early last night, and then I got her to sleep, and I was laying there thinking about stuff, and then I woke up and like about an hour later and was like, put my CPAP mask on and rolled over and went back to sleep. Jerry is here. Good morning, dear. Like you and Chris do 2-hour respective communities in July, I am starting a series when keto and carnivore collide And it'll be a recipe challenge. Lynn will be talking about it today. Okay. I have to know a little bit more about that, like what your ideas are. We'll see what you're talking about, and if we can fit it in. I was thinking about a video. I've seen things on social media that you can go to Costco and you can buy a box of raw chickens. The chickens that they use in the rotisseries. I think you get 10 chickens for $50. So you're paying the same price for an uncooked chicken as you would pay for a cooked chicken. So 10 chickens, $49.99. But if you buy them raw, you're not paying the sales tax on those chickens. But then you got to break them down. And I was thinking, I sent it to Chandra, and I was thinking, she's like, well, if you don't know how to break them down, I'm like, I'll figure it out by 10. I'm sure I can figure out how to do it by the 10th one. Break them down and then cook them up and have thighs and legs and all that stuff, And Josephine says, I was listening as I'm painting. Howdy, beautiful. All the people. Oh, fantastic. Keep painting, Josephine. I love it. All the way from Australia. And Christy's telling Jerry that she's been looking forward to her Carnivore Keto Collision series. Yeah. And Karen Harrington is in the house. Hello. Very glad to see you, my dear. Says the only thing I need to do is talk to type better on these chats. Yeah. I hear you. I could talk better in this live, but I struggle with talking sometimes. It's okay. And Andy says, hi, Amy. I was thinking about you Thursday as I was driving to the hospital to see the baby. Yeah. And Jerry says, you need to take a Google speech class, apparently. You know what? I'll do the talk to text in the car, and I'll say something and it'll read it back to me. And I'm like, is that what I sound like? Oh, my goodness. And Jerry says, there are so many good cooking people. Good cooking, good looking. What you got cooking? And Keto that make fabulous food. I want to see their creations. Yeah. There we go. Hey, good cooking. What you got looking? Oh, my goodness. And Christy says, I don't gamble, but we're just here to celebrate our 28th anniversary. Driving home today, ate a lot of good steaks, saw a show, saw Jerry Seinfeld, got a massage. It was a very nice day. Oh, that's awesome. What? With airline peanut, huh? I don't know. Is he good? Is he still? I mean, he's still just Jerry Seinfeld. I don't like to gamble. I mean, I know poker is gambling, but I like playing poker. I can sit at a poker table for 12 hours. Mr. Gugahan is off to church. Have a great day. Well, thank you so much for spending your morning with us. Have a great day. Be safe, and we'll see you real soon. And Risa says, Christy, you saw Jerry. Did you meet him or just see him perform? I imagine he doesn't get too close to the poors. He's like out the back, private jet, away from the poors. Yeah, and Brian's right. Obesity is a disease, yes. I mean, obesity is not the cause of a lot of the issues. Obesity is a symptom. So like fat, being obese, there's other things going on, and how do we handle that? How do we get to the root cause, and how do we solve those issues? And I mean, we've got to look at every tool that's possible. You know, Kip was doing Carnivore. Like I said, I don't know everything he had going on, and it's not for me to talk about. But again, every tool that's possible, like we've all have our own paths that we're on. What that looks like, that's going to be different. And I just want everybody to find what works for them so that they can enjoy what little life we all have. Pete's here. Hello, Mr. Carnivore, Mr. Papa Carnivore. How we doing, my friend? How are you? And low carbs. My brain is on the fritz today, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my goodness. Woo! Low carb spin is in the house. Good morning. How are you? Thank you so much for being here. Oh, Karen's here. Let's see. Karen, we knew Karen's here. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. And Christy said that he was in Vegas performing. No, we didn't meet Jerry. We sat right up front. It was great. That's awesome. I love a good comedy show. I love it. John says, well, you're 47 now. It's true. It's true. Oh, my goodness. All right. So, again, yesterday I was in that Zoom call with Mitzi, and we were talking with the rest of the coaches about studies, different types of studies, what to look for in studies, how do studies impact, your coaching clients. And that's not what I'm going to talk about today, but that was kind of the crux of what the Zoom call was about yesterday. What I do want to talk about today is a study that Chandra was talking about this morning on her way to work. Something that I think I may have known about, but I don't know. But I just wanted to talk about the story that I think is a problem with how people look at nutrition messaging and why it's so important to ask where information comes from, right? So back in 2015, the New York Times published an investigation showing that Coca-Cola had helped fund an organization called the Global Energy Balance Network. Now, I imagine that some of you may have heard about this, but some of you may have not. And for those who watch the replay, we're going to get into this. So the message being promoted wasn't that exercise is healthy, which it obviously getting out and moving and lifting weights and walking, swimming, being around your grandchildren, your children, whatever, walking your dogs is absolutely healthy, right? Getting out and moving, not sitting still all the time. But rather that Americans were focused too much on what they were eating and drinking and not enough on how much they were exercising. So the idea was that if people simply became more active, they could largely offset poor dietary choices, right? How often have we heard eat less, move more? This is eat what you're still eating and just move more. Now, this included drinking sugary beverages, right? It's a study paid for by Coca-Cola. So there's always, a vested interest here. Now, this is where my own thinking starts to differ from the traditional conversation, right? We've all heard calories in, calories out for decades, and people, that's a hill that they're willing to go down on, right? They're gonna stand their ground on that hill. And some of us, not so much. While the concept of energy balance exists, Now, this is kind of like how they look at this. Energy balance exists. I've never been convinced, like this is still like, the idea like energy balance, but I've never been convinced that it's complete or particularly helpful way to understand how our bodies actually work, right? Human beings aren't a bomb calorimeter. We're not an oven. We don't set our food on fire in our stomachs. So thermodynamics doesn't work that way, right? So we're not ovens designed to simply burn food for heat. We're breaking them down chemically, right? So we're in an incredibly complex biological system driven by hormones, enzymes, signaling molecules, and chemical processes that determine how food is digested, stored, utilized, or eliminated. Food isn't just fuel, obviously. That kind of still fits into what we were talking about a little earlier. It's information that tells our body how to respond. So that's why I think reducing the conversation to just eat less, move more misses so much of what people actually experience. Two people can eat the same number of calories and have very different outcomes depending on the foods they're eating, right? Their insulin response, their metabolic health. I have a gnat in here somehow. Their metabolic health, their sleep, stress, medications, muscle mass, countless other factors. If weight management were truly as simple as arithmetic, right, we probably wouldn't be seeing obesity, metabolic disease continue to rise despite decades of repeating that message, right? If low fat worked, would we be where we're at now? If carbohydrates truly were what we needed to be thin, would we be where we are now? To me, the biggest issue with the Coca-Cola messaging wasn't that they encouraged exercise, because obviously we should all be encouraging exercise, movement, getting out in the sun, moving, just enjoying life. But I think movement is one of the best things you can do for ourselves, right? Again, walk, lift weights, swim, play with your grandkids, get outside. Exercise improves quality of life in ways that go far beyond the scale, right? Again, the scale doesn't actually matter in my opinion either. So my concern is that focusing primarily on exercise can unintentionally distract people from improving the quality of the food that they're eating. It's much easier to drink hundreds of calories in a few minutes than it is to burn the same amount through activity, right? Perhaps even more importantly, different foods can have very different impacts on hunger, satiety, and metabolism. So then in 2024, Harvard anthropologist Susan Greenhalgh, Greenhalgh, published a book called Soda Science, Making the World Safe for Coca-Cola. So she argues that the beverage company spent years helping shape the public conversation around obesity by emphasizing physical activity while minimizing the role of sugary beverages in nutrition. Whether you agree with every conclusion she reaches or not, I think it reminds us to ask an important question whenever we hear health advice. Who benefits from this message? And are we getting the whole picture? Yeah, one of the things that we talked about yesterday is just how many studies have been conducted. Even there's probably been some really amazing studies that have been conducted, paid for by people, but they didn't show the results that they wanted to see, so it was shelved. Now, that doesn't mean that it wouldn't be important information for us to have. It doesn't mean that it wouldn't help us, but it was shelved because it didn't paint or help them paint a particular type of picture, right? So for me, the takeaway isn't stop exercising. That's the opposite, right? It's, it's like also like soda. Think about diet soda. What's the thing about diet soda? Diet soda is 0 calories. So for all intents and purposes, diet soda should have 0 impact on how much you weigh, how, your fat gain, your fat loss. It should have 0 to do with any of it, right? If calories in, calories out was 100% correct, think of all of the low-calorie foods, 0 to low-calorie foods that we can consume that would still have a negative impact on the scale, on our BMI. Well, again, there's a whole box of, a whole whatever can of worms, rabbit hole, if you will. But I think we should, we should stop pretending that food quality is secondary. And I know, and I'm not talking about our community. I'm talking about society as a whole. We hear that the foods we eat has no impact on why we're sick, why we, have all of the ailments, IBS, Crohn's, SIBO, cancer, all these things, that the food that we're eating has no direct impact on these things. And we have to understand that better nutrition, regular movement, good sleep, stress management, building sustainable habits all work together. Health isn't one equation. It's a whole system. And that's why nearly 10 years into my own journey, I'm looking for the next small improvement, right? Just cutting out diet soda, trying to lower my caffeine. But again, my caffeine always goes and bumps itself up, right? It's not because one drink is going to make or break my health. It's because I'm always asking myself, what's the next habit that moves me one step closer to the life I want to live? And also, I've been drinking it by the 2 liter. Like, not a can, not a 20 ounce. I just buy the 2 liters because they're $1. They're $1 versus, I can get a Sam's Choice 2 liter for $1. And I'll buy 5 or 6 of those and keep them in the house. And I just open up I don't even keep them cold. I don't pour them into a cup. I just drink from the 2 liter like a heathen. Okay? I'm a heathen. But one thing we have to remember, food isn't just fuel, it's information that tells our body how to respond. So whether it's Coke manipulating a study, running a study, trying to manipulate the social consciousness, pop culture, if you will, sugar is an empty calorie, whatever. We just have to be very careful and mindful whenever we see these new studies, because most of the time, we just see the headline. And Rick says that he thinks it's interesting that I'm 11 years younger than him. So I'm 11 years younger than you. Mary T is here. She says, yes, it's 5:30 a.m. here. Oh, my goodness. Why are you awake? But I'm glad you're here. Aaron says, talking about moving, and I'm sitting on my butt, drinking coffee for morning motivation. That's what I'm saying. I'm here sitting on my butt too. I'm sitting on my butt, just hanging out with y'all. And Angela says you can't outrun a bad diet. It's true. The average person cannot out-exercise, outrun a terrible diet. Now, remember what we saw in the Olympics like 10, 15 years ago with Michael Phelps. He's eating like 12,000 calories a day. Again, calories are going to be in the zeitgeist for the rest of time, probably, regardless if they have or regardless of how much they actually matter, for the fact that it's a way to discuss a quantity of food without saying he had 4 burgers, 3 hot dogs, 6 salads, 4 chicken, you know what I mean? He had 13,000 calories of food. It's a way to measure food in its simplest form, in a way. Because again, like, you can look and say, you know, for me, I stopped looking at calories. I was like, okay, how do I get the protein that I need today and get enough fat to make me feel satiated? I don't care how much calories that is. Should I try to keep it? But does it really matter? If 4 to 6 hamburger patties and some like 6 or 8 eggs a day, you know, the eggs cooked in some butter or whatever with maybe a little bit of cheese, is that too much calories? Am I hitting a protein goal? Do I even need a completely like rock solid every single day hit a specific number of protein? Or should I just be kind of like, well, I got close? Because even if we're measuring, it's still not 100%. We're only getting close. Yeah, Sharon says the same thing. Can't out-exercise a poor diet. Mary says, I'm a gardener with a dog who lives in Canada where it snows, digging, walking, shoveling, functional fitness. Yeah. Aaron says, I'm drinking coffee black like my... Aaron, I don't think there's anything black about your soul. Unless when you turn the camera off, you turn into like Maleficent, which I highly doubt. You seem like one of the sweetest people in the community. I highly doubt you have a black soul. There's like a swirling vortex of hatred and spite where your heart should be. I don't think you do. Jerry's talking about stepping out of the shower. And I did talk to Typa, and I'm sorry I'm not yelling. I didn't see anything. It's okay. It's okay. Pete says, Aaron, you and Mitch love your coffee black. I like my coffee all doctored up with butter, cream, bacon grease. I do too. Now, the weird thing is pre-keto, I drank my coffee black for years. Why did I do this? Simplicity. What did I not have to worry about? Bringing cream to the office. I didn't have to worry about having sugar because I've never really cared much for sweet coffee but maybe when I was a teenager. But since I've been a grown adult, sweet coffee isn't my thing. But I didn't want to have to stop and make sure we're getting cream. I didn't want to have to like get the little cream cups or whatever. I didn't want to deal with that. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to deal with it. So black coffee it was. Saved me a lot of money because I really ramped up my coffee drinking again in 2010 when I quit smoking cigarettes. So here we are, 16 years, no cigarettes. But I got a coffee habit that cost me more than cigarettes. It did for a while. Not so much now. And Aaron says, I used to love my coffee doctored up. Apparently, if you drink your fat, you're not chewing your fat, you don't feel full. I was always thirsty for fatty coffee. I lost 15 pounds. You know what? I don't know. I'm okay. I lost a lot of weight drinking fatty coffee for years. You know, when I was 400 plus pounds, I was drinking like 1,100 calories of coffee a day. And that was all fat, butter and coconut oil. Refined, unflavored coconut oil. Risa says, I'll be zooming around the store in a couple of hours, so I eat quality food before I leave. Talk about functional fitness, lifting heavy boxes for several hours a day. I love it. Oh, she says, I lost 15 pounds by giving up the fatty coffee. Oh, okay. All right. All right. So Karen, Low Carb Spin says, Dustin, question. As a health coach, what is considered a low visceral fat number? I've heard it was 1 to 25, but that seems like a wide range. I don't know. We didn't really talk about like that too much, but let me take a quick look and see what we've got here. So let me see here. Let's see. Let's see what this tells me here. Let's see. For someone like me, it says basically what you want to do is you want to take what this says is you want to measure your belly at the fattest point with a Taylor's tape, then divide the number by your height. And you want to aim for 0.5 or below, ideal under 0.53. So I don't know if there's like, I don't know where this number's coming from. We didn't talk about that. Steph, exposing darkness is in the house. Good morning, my dear. How are you? And Pete, Mr. Papa Carnivore, says, Dustin, I have tried so many popular diet programs over the year, Weight Watchers, etc. List some weight, lost some weight, but gained it all back, was starving. Yeah, I think that's the thing, is if you can't find a way to find satiety, then you're going to fail. And I think that I see so many people who go with this route of low calorie, high bulk foods where they're eating low fat. They're like turkey, like ground turkey, cooked with no fat, and they're putting it on like 100 grams of lettuce, and they're trying to keep it as low. They're measuring everything to the gram, and they're just trying to eat like to where they're stuffed, but they're not really eating anything meaningful. You're going to fail. Because if you can't eat till you're reasonably full, if you can't find to a place where you're eating to where your body goes, you know what, I'm done, and you're just done, I think you're going to fail. I think that's one of the biggest accomplishments for myself that I found with this way of eating is I finally found where I'm eating when I'm on plan. Okay, this doesn't mean if I'm out eating, like if I'm eating macaroni and cheese pizza, this is out the window. But if I'm eating burgers and steaks and bacon and eggs, if I can, there's just a point where I'm eating and my body's like, okay, you're cool. And I'm like, all right, and put the bowl down and go do something else. If you can't get to that point, you're probably going to fail whatever you're doing. And it does take time, though. It doesn't happen overnight. I didn't get there overnight. But I was fortunate to find that. And Mary says, I work with a gal who was taking a GLP-1. She still drinks Pepsis and hasn't changed a thing about how she eats. And she's always in pain. She can't move. I mean, I have a friend like that. She's lost a lot of weight, but she still eats like Reese cups and all these things. It's like that's kind of one of the issues, one of the negative issues that I have with like the GLP-1 drugs. I think that they can be very valuable, but if you're taking them and you are not learning how to eat alongside them, then I mean, you're not really improving anything. I think you have to figure out how to eat that isn't just throwing candy down into your body. That's with anything. That's with it's the same thing with, with gastric bypass or the sleeve. You have to adopt a new way of eating. You have to find a healthy way to eat. That's why these things fail. Like eventually there's going to be, if a person's doing a GLP-1 drug and they're not changing how they eat fundamentally, eventually one of the two things that either it'll stop working for them, like the drug will stop working eventually, maybe they'll get to like a max dose, maybe. I don't know. But if you haven't changed fundamentally how you're eating, none of these things work. I had a friend that I work with where she was doing Weight Watchers, and she would save enough points every night during the time where Girl Scout cookies came out. So she could eat a sleeve of Thin Mints at night. She knew how to calculate the points to where she would eat enough points to leave enough room for her points to eat the sleeve of Thin Mints. And I'm thinking, that seems like the ultimate cheat code. But then she ends up having gastric bypass. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just not sustainable. And I think, to me, a true testament to the success of whatever you're doing, whatever life changes you've made, is sustainability. Finding satiety in a way that's sustainable for you. However you need to do that, whether it's through keto, carnivore, GLP-1, hopefully not gastric bypass, because then you're just rearranging your guts. And that's scary. And we've seen so often where people can't keep their vitamins or their electrolytes up and all that. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a touchy subject. It's a nuanced conversation. Because we can't just put a blanket statement GLP-1s are bad. We can't put a blanket statement that, no one should ever get gastric bypass. It's nuanced. It is nuanced. It's a very nuanced conversation. Now, would it be better if we didn't need those tools? Absolutely. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't be. If people could try keto and carnivore or wherever on the low carb, proper human diet spectrum they can fit in, find success, this world would be perfect. But that's not the way humans work. That's not the way any of this actually works. Because we're flawed. We're imperfect. And how do we try, I mean, it seems like no matter what what the opinion may be, there's always going to be a fight about it or disagreement. And disagreements are fine, but like, you know, I have a much different stance on GLP-1s and such that I had just a few months ago. But I mean, my stance still is if you can avoid them and you can avoid gastric bypass, by all means, please do. If you can find the benefits in keto and carnivore and find your path to success, by all means, let's rock and roll. But unfortunately, we know that's not going to always be the case. So those tools have to, they're there. But we as a community have to still be here and support those people who make the decisions that, at least in the time, in the circumstances, are what they think they need to do at that point in their life. Because we don't know. We haven't walked a mile in anybody else's shoes ever. And Karen says she quit sodas years ago. I didn't drink soda for a long time. And I talked about this on Tuesday. I hated diet soda for a long time. There was a long time where I didn't drink regular soda unless it was like a rare occasion, like I want a Mountain Dew. Typically, it was something like, we're going on a road trip. I need something to drink. So, you know, fountain sodas at a gas station really come in handy. But even that's not all that often. But I mean, now I drink a lot of diet soda, so I need to cut it out. Do I want to? Absolutely not. But do I know I should? Yes. And Risa says, I haven't quit zero sugar sodas, just drinking way less. 1 or 2 cans a week instead of 1 every day is a little better. Realistically, if I could get to a point where I had 1 or 2 cans a week, I probably wouldn't even be having this conversation. But I know 1 or 2 cans turns to 3 cans, to 5 cans, drinking a bottle a day, to drinking a 2 liter a day, because it's just easy. Yeah, we have the Kirkland cinnamon in a big container too. Angie is here. Good morning. Hello. Not all products being consumed, especially the zero sugar stuff, is good for consumption. Dr. Berg has a great video on that. What our body does with the chemicals. Yeah. Now, do I think that, that aspartame is the big monster that they say it is in certain studies? Probably not. But it can't be good for us. Tuber Chat is here. Kevin, how are you doing, buddy? How are you doing, Kevin? Good to see you, my friend. Everyone's saying hi to Kevin. And Mary says, oh, yeah, you're smart to put those 2 liters down. Let's see. It's about health, not weight. By the way, I'm almost always awake in the summer at this time, garden while it's cool. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's hard to imagine I've got to a point where I do like diet soda as much as I do. It's kind of weird for me. And Pete says, Dustin, I just want to thank you for doing these Sunday lives. It's so helpful, like my AA meeting for a lifelong sugar and carb addiction. Well, I appreciate you for being here. It's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of our experiences, all of our knowledge, all of our perspectives to hash this out. And I think it's important to do these lives. And it wasn't what I was thinking of when I decided to start doing them. And I'm not sure if you know why I started doing these. So my wife, for the last few years, has worked every Saturday and Sunday as a ICU nurse. Her 2 days to work every week are Saturday and Sunday. She only has to work Saturday and Sunday, but she has to work Saturday and Sunday unless she takes a day off or there's like a holiday that falls on a Saturday or Sunday or something like that. It's not her holiday. But for all intents and purposes, I would get up in the morning, get her out the door on a Saturday, and usually crawl back into bed. And the same thing on Sunday. Sunday, I would kind of get up, make coffee. And for some reason, Sunday mornings, I would kind of just sit and just relax and drink my coffee and watch YouTube. I'm like, why am I watching YouTube when I can be doing a live? And I was thinking to myself, I could do a live at 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday. Would anybody show up? I threw feelers out, figured, let's try it. I never thought I would have 62 people watching right now. But here we are, 2.5 years later, something like that, almost 3 years later. But it is something so very valuable for me. It is something that keeps me thinking about what I'm doing, thinking about what other people are doing, trying to put together things to share that are my perspective. How can I help others? Mary T says, my daughter is visiting from Vancouver. She tripped on a pothole crossing the street on her way here, and we got to see a pretty ambulance. She's a trooper, came anyway. Nothing broken, but definitely been, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Well, I hope she feels better. Tripping and falling, it'll make things sore even though you had. And Aaron says, I don't just drink black coffee. And Pete says, tonight I've got a bunch of chicken wings that I'm going to cook in my air fryer, nice and crispy. Got them on sale for 88 cents a pound. Oh my, that's a crazy deal for chicken wings. Chicken wings, wow, where did you get that from? Because weren't they normally like $5 a pound right now for some weird reason? And Mary T says, I used to think I didn't like coffee. Turns out I just don't like sweet, creamy coffee. I don't like sweet coffee, but there's something about butter and heavy cream and some coffee and a good, solid, nice coffee, flavored coffee. I'm in it. I'm into it. Pete's got some cold cocktail shrimp that I have on a side dish with Slap Your Mama Cajun seasoning. I love it. And Aaron says, that's a great deal, Pete. I got mine for $1.19 a pound. I bought a 40-pound box for $45. That's crazy. Man. Thank you, Isabel. Congratulations on quitting smoking. It was one of those things like I was just done one day and I didn't buy anymore. And here we are. But I still dream. Every once in a while, I have a dream where I'm smoking in my dream. And even though in my dream, I know I'm like, man, I haven't smoked in so long. Why am I doing it now? It's so weird. And Steph says, I quit smoking cigarettes in 1989. I'm more than 20 years older than you, Dustin. Yeah, in 1989, I was 10. I was 10. I was born in 79. It's a crazy deal on chicken wings. I feel like I'm getting bamboozled. I'm not getting chicken wings at this. There we go. There's Cindy. Hello, everyone. Just got up. Felt great to sleep in for a change. Well, we love you, Cindy. I want to say thank you so much for the birthday card that you and Brian sent to me. It means the world to me that you guys think enough to send me a birthday card. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that very, very much. John quit smoking in 2009. I love it. Angie says, I gained weight drinking zero sugar sodas. I added butter or MCT oil to my coffee and the weight started coming off. Yeah. I mean, hopefully I'll start to see things move and less kind of like bloating and stuff with all the sodas and stuff. Mary T says, man, Americans got the great pricing. Good prices on food. We never get a chicken wing for under $5 a pound. Ribeye, $35 a pound. That is insane. Canada needs a revolt. The The kids air fry the chicken wings for lunches easy. That's awesome. I love that so very much. And Pete says, I lost a ton of weight with high-fat carnivore, adding lots of butter, but some folks need less fat to lose weight and avoid bathroom issues. Everyone is, yeah. Yeah, the fat I add doesn't really make a difference to my bathroom visits. Nancy Tanner is here. Hello, Nancy. It's very good to see you, my dear. How are you? And Angie says the MCT oil helps keep the ketones going, the ghrelin at bay. Yeah. I don't use it too much. Chandra I put like a squirt into Chandra's coffee in the morning. And Pete says something here. Pete says something that I think is often used as interchangeable. But Angie, he says, Angie, yes, you're right. MCT oil helps you get into ketosis for sure. I don't think MCT oil helps you get into ketosis. It will help you make ketones. I don't think that's the same thing. And I know it may feel like a semantic argument, but let's see. Let's see what we have here. Let's see, what's the difference between making ketones and being in ketosis? Making ketones and being in ketosis are related, but not the same thing. Your body makes ketones anytime it's burning fat for fuel. That happens all the time, even on a standard diet. You're making a small amount of ketones between meals, after exercise, during sleep. Making ketones is just a metabolic process. It doesn't mean much on its own. Being in ketosis means you've made enough ketones that they show up measurably in your blood. Now, that is something that MCT oil will do, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're in ketosis. It's a state where ketones become your primary fuel source instead of glucose. You get there by eating low carb. 20 grams of total carbs or less a day is what would be typically recommended, and staying that way long enough for your body to adapt. Now, again, especially in the very beginning, your body, that's where the urine strips come into play, because when you're first starting a ketogenic or some kind of diet and you're utilizing the urine strips, they are going to pick up what is the acetoacetate that's expelled through the urine, and that's what those strips will pick up. Once you have become keto adapted, you're no longer then creating the acetoacetate and expelling those through the urine. You're now making proper ketones and burning and utilizing fat as a primary fuel, as long as your glucose is low, you know what I mean? So I think there's the practical difference. And I know it's a semantic thing that we utilize, but I always like to try to make sure we're thinking about it. Because I don't want people, that's where like the idea that like the ketone beverages that the MLMs will sell, like the Nat, and I can't think of, there's a couple other brands that are out there that you think every once in a while they'll explode in popularity, and then they'll kind of, and then I guess it's also depending on what you're looking for and if they're showing up in your, so they'll probably start showing up in my social media feed. But I know people who have sold them at one, points in time or another where, they are, basically beta hydroxybutyrate, and you will then have those in your blood. Like, get in ketosis faster. Nope. You will have ketones in your blood faster, but that doesn't mean you're in ketosis. Yeah. And Pete says, I've got my 85-year-old mother adding a tablespoon of MCT oil, 3 drops of Lugol's 2% iodine, and her morning coffee with 2 eggs fried in butter. She also eats a lot of meat now, too. Keto for the most part. I love that. And how does she feel? How is she feeling? And Terry is telling Aaron that which brand fizzy water has the root beer float flavor. I saw that at Kroger the other day. I can't remember which brand it is. Evelyn says, our refrigerator is so stuffed with leftovers. We had to pull almost every empty container. Let's see, to make room. Yeah, we had to do that. We had to empty our fridge and get rid of a bunch of stuff the other day. Our freezers are stuffed full, but our freezers are full of like pizzas and snacky cakes and all these things that do not benefit me at all. I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it. Oh, but you know. And Mary T says, I can't convince my coworker her pain is metabolic. So sad to watch. She is losing weight, but this is the danger of weight loss drug criminal that they are prescribed with no food counseling. I mean, but realistically, though, even if they were to try to give them food counseling, would they give them the correct information? I mean, it's kind of, I don't even know. And Pete says, tomorrow will be a late night for me. I'm going to drive back home to Boca Raton after the movie ends, probably going to get home around 2 a.m. Oh, you're going to that Healing Humanity movie screening. I know we're supposed to be getting that sometime soon here in Indiana. Brett was talking about this. Everybody keep Brett in your thoughts. He had something happen. He posted on social media. He was in the hospital the other night, so keep him in your thoughts. Hopefully he is okay. Hopefully he will keep us posted on what's going on. But Brett talked about doing a screening here in July or August for the Healing Humanities. I told him that I would do my best to help promote that, to get as many people there as we can. So we'll see what happens, who shows up. I don't know if Dr. Kiltz will show up or who will be here. I mean, it's Indiana. We'll see what happens. But safe driving, my friend. Oh, let's see. Terry says the breakdown of diet soda is a tax on the liver and the kidneys. The bland fizzy waters probably are too due to the natural flavor. Yeah, but I mean, that's such a trivial amount. Probably doesn't even. I mean, our bodies are meant to handle a certain amount of that kind of stuff and heal. That's why we can heal. I mean, think about what was in river water 1,000 years ago. Parasites and who knows what. I mean, there was no microplastics or whatever, but I mean, a certain amount of urine and animal stuff in there and dead things from upstream and who knows what was in the river water. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know. We have to find a happy medium, find a balance, because I think there's never, because if we start going down the road of never is good enough, then we're just, it kind of gets crazy. Kelly is here. Hello, Kelly. How you doing, my friend? Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Glad to see you. Oh, we're coming down towards the end, ladies and gentlemen. We've been talking for a little over an hour and almost an hour and 50 minutes. Let's see. Terry says, I often get in trouble for being brutal, for brutal honesty with a few of the youngins in the chats. I don't care. It's honestly without the... And being tactful? Honest? Maybe. But is that what they need to hear? I don't know. I think we as a community need to be kind. Kindness goes a long way. And Karen just started using MCT oil in her coffee again. And Risa loves smoking chicken wings in her Ninja wood fire grill. Under 25 minutes and smoky. That sounds delicious too. And Terry says, it's the kind of honesty that protects you long-term, even if it stings short-term. But we have to be mindful that sometimes that honesty doesn't drive people away. We want to make sure we are keeping people here, not under false pretenses, but we have to be sure that we are saying whatever it is we need to say, but in a loving, nurturing, kind way. It's very, very important. Lance is in the house. Good morning, my friend. How are you doing? Glad to see you. Mr. Biscuit is here. Sup, Dustin fam, on a summer schedule now, up all night. Oh my goodness. I've been wondering where you were. I haven't seen you in a while. But Mr. Biscuit's in the house. So very glad to see you. It's been a while. It's been a while. And Nancy says, I'm usually out for my exercise this time of morning, getting on my vibration plate while I'm listening to get my day started. I love it. Oh, yeah. Liquid Death has the root beer flavored water. That's true. That's true. Waterloo is the one that did the collab with Guy Fieri and made a root beer float fizzy water. It's pretty good. Yeah, there's a bunch of those out there. Angie says, I'm super confused, Dustin. Why do people like Dr. Boz suggest testing your blood for ketones and glucose if that doesn't mean you're in ketosis? Now, that's not what I said. Just because you can have some ketones in your blood doesn't mean you're in ketosis. Because you can go and drink ketones because like if you go and you drink like a ketone beverage, that's going to put ketones in your blood. But that's not ketones that your body made. If your body is making enough ketones to show up on a blood glucose or a blood ketone monitor, you're in ketosis. So like I said, there is some semantics there. It is kind of a semantic issue, but it's also one that's very valuable because people will try to sell these supplements and these things to get you in ketosis faster. But that's not what's happening. They're just putting ketones in your blood, but that's not the body making the ketones that are in your blood. Now, when someone like Dr. Boz is telling you to test your ketones, she is wanting you to make sure your ketones are above a specific level. Now, I'm not familiar with her protocol or what her levels are, but how I look at testing is if you register on a blood ketone meter, you're in ketosis. You're doing fine. Now, this is what I would say once you are keto adapted. So you've been living a low carb lifestyle. You've been very consistent for a few weeks, maybe a couple of months. Then, because again, that's the difference between the body producing and expelling the acetoacetate versus the beta hydroxybutyrate. That would be a consistent level in your blood. So like if you're doing a fast, then you may see ketone levels 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. But if you are just a normal everyday type of testing, you may see 0.2, 0.3, 0.5, maybe upwards of 1, depending on what your diet looks like. Oh, no worries, Angie. Like I said, that's where this comes in because we have to make sure we are looking and understanding the differences in the semantics because it is so easy to confuse somebody. That's where some of those products make their money because they can say, oh, we'll get you into ketosis in 24 hours. But what they're not telling you is they're just putting ketones in your blood. Now, your body may or may not be able to utilize those, but it's not the same as your body naturally manufacturing those ketones and then utilizing them for fuel. That's kind of where we are. Pete says, I've been carnivore for almost 4 years and never measured my ketones or my blood sugar. So I started keto in 2016 and I did so. We bought I think we still have the original container of the urine strips, the original like pack of 50 that we got. I think they come in a pack of 50 or a pack of 100. Maybe we bought 2 because Shannon and I were doing it together and we didn't know how often we were going to test. But it's like there's something like get up in the morning and you have that urine strip and you utilize it, you know what I'm saying? And it turns dark purple. You're like, yeah. And then the thing is, and one of the most important pieces of information is people will fail because once you are no longer in the early stages of transitioning into a ketosis and your body is no longer primarily producing the acetoacetate and pushing that through your urine, those strips no longer come up purple. So then you think you're doing something wrong, even though if you were to do a blood glucose or a blood ketone test, you would then register your ketones in the blood. That's where the difference between, I think, kind of like having ketones versus being in ketosis is kind of a difference. Once you've transitioned and and then I think once your body has kind of that metabolic flexibility, I think that's very important, right? And Terry asked, do I wear a CGM? I do not. I have one that somebody gifted me, but I was going to make content about it, but I just never got to it. And yeah, I'll get to it eventually. Speak the truth in kindness. That's 100%. Thank you, Evelyn. Sarah is here, my sister. Good morning, Sarah. I love you very much. I hope you're having a wonderful morning. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, and Terry says, yeah, exogenous ketones get utilized before your own. Yeah. Somebody said I lost sound. Did I lose sound? Is it back? I imagine if you're not hearing me, you would have told me by now. So there's that. But anyway, we've been talking now for almost 2 hours. I still have a little bit of coffee left. Delicious, delicious coffee. So Chandra works again tomorrow. So I don't think there will be a Dr. Barry live tomorrow. I think, yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Hang out with the girls, have a good time. And Terry says it got me hooked on that Nescafe. Yeah, we've got it. We get it delivered we get 3 containers delivered every 2 weeks. Yes. And as you're saying, thank you. Have a great and beautiful day. Well, thank you so very much. The Nescafe stuff is delicious. We have caramel. I've had the vanilla. Caramel came by mistake. I told Amazon about it and they refunded me the money because I didn't order the caramel. They let us keep them, but that's okay. And we have a bunch. We have decaf too, just in case if it's like sometimes like super, super late at night, I'm going to want some coffee. Throw a little bit of decaf in there. It's okay. Gives me the coffee flavor without all the jitters. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm super excited that you guys are here with me every week. And, just remember, don't be too hard on yourselves. We're all in different places. We're all at different points in our journey. Now, most of us here today have a fairly good grasp of what's going on in our own lives, right? A lot of us are not new to it. We're true to it. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean that what we're doing today is going to be our forever either, right? Because the goal isn't to be an expert at dieting. The goal is to become someone who has built the habits so natural that your attention can return to the people you love, the dreams that you're chasing, and the life that you're trying to build, or enjoy the life that you have built. And I come up on that 10 years on this journey. I realized that the greatest gift this lifestyle has given me wasn't just weight loss. It was mental freedom. Sometimes it's more evident than others, like today where my brain goes, you know what? You don't need to know what you're talking about. You don't need to remember what you were trying to say. We're just going to go and come to a grinding halt, right? But it's freedom to stop obsessing over the food and start focusing on everything else that makes life worth living, right? That's you guys. That's all of you. That's everybody else out there who needs our help. That's our families, our loved ones, our wives, our husbands, our children, our grandchildren, our coworkers, anybody who may be watching us. Another thing that I remember from yesterday was the idea that people will watch us and they will be quiet until something comes out, and they're going to send you that article thinking they're going to get you. That gotcha article. They're going to, oh, yep, you're doing keto or carnivore. This is... then you gotta break it down and be like, look, this is what this means. This is not what you think it means. And then hopefully educate them, right? But I hope every one of you gets to experience that freedom, because it's worth every bit of the work it takes to get there. So happy Sunday, friends. I'm so glad that you were here with me today. And I'm going to try to see how this plays out. I did get some of the member stuff from last week all put together. All the members should be correct in today's credits. It is a new credit looking thing with the same music, but I have to go in and fix a lot of things and still build things. It's going to take me a couple of hours, and I just haven't had a much of a chance, right? But yes, Nancy, we are stronger together. And thank you all so very much. But here come the credits. Let me know what you think of them in the comments after this video, in the replay. I love all of you. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody.